Well, thank you all so much for joining us today. My name's Katie Manter. I'm the membership manager here at the Maine Association of Nonprofits. And Ryan, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Ryan Layden. I'm Communications Director at the Maine Arts Commission, and we are very proud of this partnership opportunity that we've been doing with MANP. We really wanted to boost the infrastructure of the Maine arts sector and really help some of the organizations get access to the services and resources that MANP offers. And really, the Arts Commission, we are members of MANP. And now really getting into this partnership, I see now all the services and resources that Katie has told me about. And it's been really eye-opening for me. So hopefully you can take something out of this meeting. I'm very confident you will. And welcome.
Yeah, and I'm just going to get started. I'm going to share my screen, so bear with me as I get this up. But really, I hope that this is informal. I have some slides, as Ryan said, really with the goal of helping. As I said, I see some familiar names on here. So I know some folks are already members and are showing up really to figure out how they can dive even deeper into our resources and support. And then there may be some of you who are trying to decide, how could MANP help my organization? And is this a good fit to take advantage of these discounted memberships? But we are so excited to be partnering with the Maine Arts Commission to be able to offer discounted memberships for arts-aligned nonprofits, and really excited to be here today to chat with you all. And please feel free as we go through. If questions come up, drop them in the chat. Ryan's going to help me keep an eye out on the chat. And we'll also have plenty of time at the end for questions as well. So like all of you, MANP, or the Maine Association of Nonprofits that we often referred to as MANP, is a nonprofit ourselves. We are a statewide organization, so we have representation in all 16 counties. Our membership is over 1,200 nonprofits that span all different sizes, all different stages of organizational growth, and all different mission areas. But I will say that arts and cultural organizations kind of make up the largest group of our membership. And really all of our work focuses on supporting all of you. So we're focused on how can we strengthen the leadership, voice, and organizational effectiveness of all of Maine's nonprofits. And so just for context, when an organization joins the Maine Association of Nonprofits, it allows all of your staff, all of your board members, and all of your volunteers access to all of our resources and support. So whether your organization is entirely volunteer-led or you have a huge, robust staff, all of your people can take advantage of our resources and support. But also because we have such a diverse membership, it means that we have a huge range of member benefits. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to walk you through a few case studies. These are not real organizations, but some case studies of some types of organizations that we have seen at MANP, and highlighting some of their top challenges and opportunities for growth, and then walking you through some ways that MANP could help this organization and which resources and services may be most of interest to these organizations, because I'm hoping that some of these challenges and opportunities may sound familiar for you within your organization. And as I said before, as I go through, please just feel free to drop any questions into chat or ask any questions along the way. All right. And so the first organization say this organization is an all volunteer-led organization. There's no paid staff. It really is what we call a working board. So a group of really committed individuals who come together, who provide both the strategy and oversight for the organization, but also some of the day-to-day programming for the organization. And what the board members are finding is that they have been on the board for a long time. Some of them are feeling really burned out, and they're also realizing that there's some gaps in the services that are being offered or being provided on the board, and that there is not as much of a balance of skill sets as they would hope to see. And so if you're an organization who is thinking board recruitment and engaging your board is really top of mind, here are a few of our member benefits that may be most of interest. So the first is we have a free board recruitment toolkit that walks organizations through here are some of the questions and the conversations that your board should have in order to think strategically about who to bring on to your board. It also then walks you through how to go about looking and recruiting for new board members, as well as then how to onboard and support those board members as they come on. Another free resource that we recently launched that we're really excited about is a service called Board Explorer that helps match organizations who are seeking board members with individuals who are looking for board opportunities. So this is one tool, if you know that you're looking to expand your board, this is one tool that you can take advantage of as a member to kind of get the word out there about a board opportunity. And then finally, we regularly hold different training opportunities for boards members. And one that we hold frequently is our board roles and responsibilities webinar. It's an hour-and-a-half kind of nuts and bolts webinar that walks through what are the fiduciary and legal responsibilities of being a board member, and how do you and what are some tips and tricks for being effective stewards of the organization's mission.
We found that very valuable.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that someone has attended and can weigh in on that training. But so yes, that's hour-and-a-half every 3 months or so, but it's a really helpful tool for just getting folks on the same page about what it means to be a board member and kind of what everyone's working towards. And now the second case study, again, made up organization, but is a small arts nonprofit that has one paid staff. And the staff member has been in the executive director position for about 20 years and is getting ready to transition off and move on to a new opportunity. And at the same time, the organization is kind of nearing the end of their current strategic plan and is also realizing that the pandemic has kind of disrupted business as usual. So they're trying to think about both how do they plan for a leadership transition, and also what does the future of our organization and our strategy and kind of our business model look like moving forward. And now here are a few ways if kind of leadership transition and your strategy and business plan are top of mind for your arts nonprofit. Here are a few of our member benefits and resources that may be of particular interest for you. So the first is we offer free sounding board coaching sessions. So this is something we recently launched. They happen every other month for an hour and 15 minutes on Zoom, where nonprofits can bring a strategy related question related to fundraising, business planning, technology, board of directors. You can bring it and we pair you with a consultant or a peer or someone who has experience within that area to really just serve as a thought partner, and really to kickstart a brainstorming session on how would you go about tackling the question. So for example, that organization that I had mentioned, the case study, could bring a question like, how does our organization go about planning for a leadership transition when we also need to be going through a strategic planning process? Or another type of question could be, how does our organization begin to think about this next stage of organizational growth? Now, at the same time, we hold in-person trainings and webinars regularly on a range of nonprofit management related topics, from financial management to marketing and communications to fundraising. But we do also regularly hold questions related to strategy to help organizations like organization number 2 think about their business model and what their strategy should be moving forward. And later on in the presentation, I have a slide that walks you through, here's some of our upcoming program, and here's some that is available for free on demand on our website in our webinar library right now. And there's a number of strategy and business planning related content in there that I'll highlight more. And then finally, if for organizations who are planning for or in the middle of a leadership transition, we have a whole range of resources in this area. And it really just depends on your budget and the level of, how in-depth and the amount of support that you're looking for. We have something like a basic toolkit that walks organizations through how do we think about and plan for a leadership transition before it happens. Then how do we go about leading the search for a new executive director? And then finally, how do we support and onboard that executive director? But there's also options to have kind of a full training for your board or even discounts on managed search. So I want to pause really briefly before I move on to kind of the next set of resources and case studies and just see, does anyone have any questions about any of what I just mentioned?
I'm not seeing anything in the chat, Katie, but I can definitely guarantee there has been a large swath of arts organizations that the pandemic, beat us up a little bit, and there has been a lot of leadership changes. And I know that these are very, very valuable resources for nonprofits in that transitional change right now.
Awesome. Yeah, not a problem. We'll have plenty of time for questions at the end. Just stop me if anything comes up.
I have a question, Katie. Sorry.
Of course.
I have a feeling this will be answered later, but I just want to ask now, how does our board access these resources if we're already members? Do we just share our login information?
Great question, Dana. And so what you'll do is everyone should actually create. So all staff, board members, and volunteers should create their own login right on their website. So when you hit login, they'll enter their email address. And if they're not in our system for any reason, it'll pop up and ask them to enter their information. And right as they type in your organization's name, our system will recognize them as a member. But the key is, thank you for specifying that, everyone should have their own login. And what I'll also do is include in the follow-up email, we have a template. I put together just a template for you to share a little bit more information about, hey, by the way, staff and board, we are MANP members, and here's how you go about taking advantage of that. So I'm happy to share that with you. And then for any of you who are not current members right now, that's information that you would get when you join. So you'll have that kind of at your fingertips. So hopefully it's a little easier for you to share out and encourage everyone else to take advantage of it as well. Awesome. Thank you, Dana. All right. And so the third organization is, say, an arts nonprofit in a coastal tourist community. They have 3 staff members, and really what their challenge right now is kind of cutting through the noise. How do they ensure that they are able to reach their existing members and retain them? But also, how do they make sure that they're bringing in new audiences and getting more folks to come to their performances? With the challenge that may resonate with some of you, I know it resonates with me, of their staff or their board members are juggling a million things. We like to call them multiple hats, Meg, or multiple hats, Matt, where is your formal title may say, I am the marketing manager, but all of a sudden you are in charge of managing facilities at your organization, or dealing with every technology challenge that comes up at your organization, or a board member who all of a sudden is leading a capital campaign, even though that's not an area that they've worked in before. And so here's some ways that MANP can help support organizations who are interested in developing and growing their skill set in marketing communications, and also are juggling kind of having to do it all in a sense. So I know I've mentioned before, we regularly hold webinars and in-person trainings related to marketing and communications. But one other resource to know is that MANP members also are able to get discounts on on-demand certificates through our partners at an organization called MindEdge. And for example, they have a certificate in digital marketing. That's a great kind of 101 and entry into kind of all the key areas of digital marketing to give you really robust training on here's a way to develop your skill set within marketing. They also have a certificate in nonprofit management that goes through, it has grant writing, it has volunteer management, board development, financial management for nonprofits, reading a financial statement, kind of gives you a little taste and a little training in a whole bunch of areas. If you are a board member or a staff member who is really feeling like you need to be tapped in and working in a lot of different areas. Another resource I always like to mention to organizations is we have a free resource called Guiding Principles and Practices in Nonprofit Management. And it is both a guide that comes with a checklist and a workbook that walks through, okay, here are the legal and fiduciary requirements of being a nonprofit in Maine. And then here are some tips and recommendations. And I often recommend it just because it can be really overwhelming where organizations come to me and say, I feel like I'm supposed to be doing a million different things and X, Y, and Z. And really, I just need a simple idea of what is required in order to maintain our 501c3 status. And then what are some other tips and what are some other areas that we can work towards aspirationally? And so it walks you through kind of financial management, here are what the requirements are. And then it walks through kind of governance and oversight for your board. It walks through fundraising and what the legal requirements are, staff and volunteer management. And it does a really great job of breaking down, okay, you need to be worried about this if you have 5 or more staff people, and you need to be worried about this if you have 15 more staff people, or if there's a budget threshold. But it is one resource to use just to give you a sense and kind of some guideposts of how can we prioritize when there just seems to be so much going on. And then the other resource that I definitely want to be sure to mention is members have free access to our member help desk. So at any point, any board members, any staff can reach out to us with questions. I help manage that with my coworker, Molly, and it's basically email or phone support on a range of nonprofit management related questions. And so to give you a sense of what that looks like for an organization like the example that I gave in the third example that I just gave, it could be someone reaching out, a development manager saying, hey, all of a sudden I am in charge of designing our website. Like, what should we be concerned about and thinking about when we need to redesign our website? And do you have a template for an RFP that we could put out to consultants for revising our website? Or the other day, I got an email from a board member saying, I am in charge of putting together a planned giving program for our nonprofits. What should I be thinking about? What should I be aware of when considering starting a planned giving program? And do you have any templates for donation intentions that we can use as a starting point? So again, if you take away anything today, my hope is that you realize we are here as a resource. We are fielding these questions every day, and we know all of you are doing so much on a day-to-day basis to carry out your mission that we want to be here as a resource to connect you to peers, to connect you to information, templates, guides, resources, so that we're not recreating the wheel. And we can also connect you if you reach out and we really think you need to connect with an attorney or an accountant. We can connect you for a 30-minute pro bono legal or accounting consultation each year.
Katie, we have one question here from Bruce. Does MANP have a suggested list of accounting people who could help us manage our financial activities and tax filing?
Yes, we have something, and I will include it in the follow-up email. But if you go to our website under resources, there's something called the Business Finder, and it is a directory of all different consultants, vendors, business providers who work specifically with nonprofits, and there's different filters. So accounting and bookkeeping is one of the filters you can choose from. And most of them have filled out some additional information on services they offer and any other specific information that's helpful. But there's lawyers in there, there's fundraising consultants, grant writers, organizational development consultants, all kinds of great resources. So know that that's there. And if you ever reach out to us, we can also direct you right to there as well. Great.
Perfect.
Awesome. And then the final organization and example, again, made up, but may resonate with some, is just a small organization that has 4 staff. And there is a challenging work culture in terms of the dynamics between the executive director and staff may be a bit tense, where staff are not feeling valued. They don't feel like there's open communications, leading to kind of low overall team morale. And so, sorry, my cursor is no longer working. There we go. Some resources, if this is top of mind for your organization, is We run a Leadership Institute for Executive Directors every year. It's an intensive leadership program with a very strong focus on developing and growing the executive director's interpersonal skills, on how to coach staff, how to have open communication and manage conflict within the staff and in the board of directors. So that's kind of one proactive way to address that and to take advantage of a leadership program. Again, we regularly hold webinars and in-person trainings on topics related to conflict resolution, communication, coaching, and supervising. So keep an eye out on the upcoming events calendar. And then, of course, we also have, if you're looking for more resources on hiring, recruiting, and retaining, we have an online resource library that has a bunch of free information, free articles, templates, policies to help your organization think about what are those types of steps that we can create to bring on new staff members and to create a healthy work culture as well. But one thing to note also, if your organization doesn't have any staff, or if you have one staff member and a board of directors, I know those examples that I just mentioned really were focused on interstaff conflict. We know that many of these topics extend to the board. And so a lot of our trainings also either are more broadly applicable around conflict management, regardless of kind of what role you have, or we have other specific trainings that are, for example, around the role of the board chair and the role of the board chair in creating a really strong and welcoming board culture, as well as the relationship between, say, the executive director and board chair and open communication there. So a lot of resources and tools and educational programs, if that's top of mind for your organization as well. So I know I just threw a lot at you, and I'm going to ask Ryan to drop the link to our full list of member benefits, because I just highlighted a handful of our member benefits. So I encourage all of you, please take some time to take a look at the full list. And I also absolutely love connecting one-on-one with organizations. And so if you're interested, you still have questions, whether about if this is a good fit for your organization, or you're looking for specific resources or suggestions, please reach out to me. I absolutely love connecting with you. I'm more than happy to figure out what are the unique challenges or opportunities your organization is looking to tackle and how I can help triage and point you to the right resources at MANP. But I'm going to pause. Are there any questions on those specific resources that I mentioned? We'll keep going for now.
Definitely a lot of great resources. I like writing all the things. I'm like, oh yeah, that one.
Yes, and don't worry, I'm going to send a follow-up. Ryan's going to send out a follow-up email that has it all linked. I'm going to send the slide deck, and each resource on each slide will be hyperlinked in case it's hard to remember. If something piqued your interest and you weren't sure what it was called, that'll all be there, hopefully to make it easy for you all to find.
That would be great.
And now this slide is just, I wanted to give you, I know I mentioned a lot trainings, and that's something I think that MANP is known for, is our trainings that are open for board members and staff. So I just wanted to put a couple examples on here to give you a taste of some of the breadth of training opportunities that are available. So on the left is just some live upcoming trainings and webinars, which will be continuously adding to our webinar or our upcoming events calendar every week. Ryan can drop the link to our upcoming events calendar in chat, and I'll also send it out during in the follow-up email, but you'll see the full list of what's coming up right now. And then on the right is what I always say is our hidden gem member benefit that not a lot of folks know about, is we actually put a lot of our past programming in our webinar library, and members have free access to that. And so this is just some examples of what I think are some really interesting webinars that are in there right now, but we have a ton for board members in there, and again, on a whole range of different topics. So that's also a great starting point if you're interested in testing out some MANP programming and seeing what it's like. The webinar library may be a good starting point. And so, of course, to the actual details of the partnership. So Arts Aligned Nonprofits are eligible for 50% off MANP membership. And Ryan will drop the link to the partnership page that has the full dues chart. Our dues are on a sliding scale based on annual operating expenses. And so if you are a 501c3 or 4 arts aligned nonprofit with operating expenses less than $1 million, or a BIPOC-led nonprofit of arts nonprofit of any size, you're eligible for the discount. I also just wanted to specify, if you are fiscally sponsored, a fiscally sponsored nonprofit, you are also eligible, or incorporated and on the way to getting your 501c3, also eligible and welcome to join as well. And it is something that's open to new or renewing MANP members. So if you are new, there's just a discount code that you'll enter during the checkout process. If you are renewing, you're already a MANP member, just reach out to me when you'll get your renewal notice, and just reach out to me. I have to just do a little magic behind the scenes to adjust your invoice, and we'll get that all sorted out for you. But that's really all I had. This is my contact information with my email, and I'll of course include it in the follow-up. But I really want to open it up for any questions, or to hear a little bit more about kind of what's top of mind for your organizations, to see if there's anything else I can help clarify or point out or send you to right off the bat.
Katie, that was great. Thank you so much. And I also want to point out this meeting was recorded, so I'll include a link to this meeting for anyone. I know we had a few people come in a little late, and if you missed a few of the slides in the beginning, we'll have a YouTube video available in the follow-up email. Katie, I have another question here submitted. We have received conflicting information about workers' comp filing with contractors. Is there a best practices guide available somewhere? Is that something that MANP has any information on?
That's a great question. And that I'm going to just stop sharing so I can actually see some faces. And that's something that is a great member help desk question, and it's something that I just would need to do a little research on. So let me just make sure. I'm going to drop my email into the chat. And if you don't mind sending me, whoever it was that submitted that question, if you don't mind just sending me an email so I have your contact information, let me do a little digging and reach out towards some of our partners and see if they have any specific resources to share.
See, I like that. I like that service. Any question at all, we can ask Katie, and she'll do the digging. That's wonderful. It's a wonderful service to have.
We like to think of ourselves as librarians. That's how we often describe it. Our goal is to connect you to resources and partners and tools and templates.
Hi, Katie. This is Carol Preston, Midcoast Symphony Orchestra.
Hi, Carol. How are you?
Good. I just wanted to, for people who haven't been dealing with you yet, we've been members for a few years, and you have used a lot of the services, including the board connection service. I don't remember what you call it.
Yes.
We recently took on a new board member who was on that list, and we're really happy to have her. And she's in marketing, and helps us broaden our board out a little bit beyond what we have been in the past. So, and we've used the employment services as well. So,
oh, wonderful! I'm so happy. Thank you for sharing that. That's wonderful.
Among other, digging into the website and using a lot of resources there.
That's great.
I've got, I'm a member of a board, is also a performer, so I'm interested to hear what Carol had to say. I belong to a group called St. Mary's Scola, which is an early music ensemble. It's been around since 2008, and it was really the baby of the past music director who has retired. And we are now, basically, he and his partner, who had many skills, ran the show. There was a board of approximately 6 to 8 over the last several years, but I'm new to the board, but my impression was that they simply approved whatever he wanted to do. So we are now transitioning to a situation where we have hired an interim director. And we'll also establish a search for a new director, but the interim director is working out, fortunately for us, very well. But it is, in many ways, the board now must assume many more tasks than they did before. So, and looking at those 4 models that you had, I could think that perhaps that we are obviously number 1. We do not have a paid staff other than our interim music director, and we, with number 2 and number 1, probably are going to be most applicable in our situation, particularly the idea of marketing, as well as just transitioning from this board that was essentially led by the music director and founder of the ensemble.
Yes, no, it sounds like those board resources may be a good starting point to kind of get everyone on the same page.
Yeah, I'm really enthusiastic about what you can offer us.
Oh, good. Thank you. Any other questions? Well, just know if questions come up once you've had kind of a time to digest all of this, my email is in the chat and it'll be in the follow-up. I welcome any opportunity to keep chatting with all of you. If anyone has any other questions, or if I can help with the sign-up process, or if you're already a member, help navigating the system, anything like that. But thank you all so much for joining us today.